Shalom. First and foremost, I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Chakodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that well. Peace and blessings to the elect of Israel. Shalom and a Baba Ball. Back here with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai. Lord will this video was edifying. All right, and this is just a little exhortation in the spirit. And, honestly, I had this topic in my spirit to do prior to this whole Sakari controversy. All right. But, I guess this is fitting for the situation at hand, and, I don't really want to speak on it too much, because certain things is certain brothers' portions and measures. I will say this out the gate. I don't necessarily agree with brothers being in mirth and stuff like that. All types of stuff in mirth in a worldly sense, what seemed to be, all right, during the Pesach. You could be in mirth in the spirit, all right, doing, righteousness and stuff like that. But nonetheless, hey, that's their walk and that's that, you know what I'm saying? But nonetheless, if that's what they were on, then it wasn't the wisest thing to do to try to record that and display that before Israel. You see, that wasn't a wise thing to do. Certain things brothers, link up together. Brothers might do certain things and, it might not be going off. But at the same time, you have to also understand that it could possibly be a stumbling block into your neighbor. You see, and that's pretty much what this lesson is set up through the spirit. You don't want to defile before your neighbor, man, because ultimately that could be blood on your hands. You see, off of something that seems to be such a small mistake. Matter of fact, let me get this real quick. All right. Let me go to the book of Sirach. Sirach, Ecclesiastes 27:1. Many have sinned for a small matter, and he that seeketh for abundance will turn his eyes away. You see, yeah, so pretty much I want to get the point where it says, many have sinned for a small matter, man. All right, and the part where it says, he that seeketh for abundance will turn his eyes away, meaning, bribery. Okay, certain men can get bribed off, and it'll make them turn the blind eye, so to speak. But ultimately, the point I wanted to get was, many have sinned for a small matter, man. And ultimately, you can have a great sin for a small matter as far as defiling your neighbor's conscience, so to speak, because it could be a small little thing that could have been avoided, but it leads to a big consequence, you see. So I just wanted to get this through the spirit, understand that you do have brothers who are, under you in the faith, following you, looking up to you. So you also want to make sure that you're exhorting yourself and the brothers to be a good example. All right. This is because at the end of the day, certain brothers, can receive certain things and certain brothers can't. You see, and in particular, one brother might think that it's going off to eat, Thanksgiving dinner or Christmas dinner, and if he feels like it's going off, then guess what? Refrain from that. You see, refrain from that, but if you don't feel like it's going off, which by technicality is not, as long as you're not coming in that same Christmas or Thanksgiving spirit, you're just simply eating the food, you pray over it in the name of Yahweh Shem Shai, and the food is lawful to eat, you see, then you're good. But if you do it before your neighbor who believes that it's going off, then you have a problem on your hands, because you can make him stumble at that, and him having a weak conscience, okay, he could fall out the faith from that, man. Okay, and I actually had an example of that, because I was eating a certain thing where, a couple months back, we kind of decreed it in the camp that it was through to eat, but then, through the spirit, the Lord put the spirit on, us to do some further research on it, and it turns out that it was lawful. You see, but one of the brother's daughters, she saw me eating it, which it was just simply a bag of chips, in particular purple Doritos, just so hey, because scripture say, do not any secret thing before a stranger, you know what I'm saying? So, another brother might be wondering that, but guanolite and guano are two different ingredients. You see, guanolite is a vegan source ingredient. Guano, though, however, is bat feces. You see? Now, it has the same root word, if you will, but it's two different things. You see? So, nonetheless, the brother's daughter saw me eating it, and she was like, oh, it's a sin to eat that, or something like that. She said something of that nature. And in a moment, I wasn't going to sit there and break it down to her, because she literally, she's a child. She probably less than 10 years old. She's a child. So I wasn't going to sit there and break it down to her, which now thinking about it in hindsight, I probably should have, or rather, what I should have done was just stop eating it in front of her, you see? And, I can't blame her because, that's what she was taught. And she was trying to rebuke me in a roundabout way, So, hey, call life like at least that was her mind frame. You know what I'm saying? But nonetheless, I, meditating on it with brothers, we talked about it because, brothers hold counsel. So talked about it. And I was like, you know what? I should have never ate it around her, because her conscience stumbled at that in a roundabout way, you see? And who's to say she's not one of the Lord's little ones, So that was a problem on my behalf, And as well, other brothers too in the camp didn't feel comfortable eating it, which is fine. If you don't feel comfortable eating a certain thing, that's on you. You know what I'm saying? Refrain, you see? But if your conscience doesn't condemn you and what you're doing is lawful, all right, then there's nothing wrong. Okay? Now let me go ahead and get the scripture. Let's just start from the top. Romans 14:1. Him that is weak in the faith receive ye, but not the doubtful disputations. You see? So you might have a brother who's weaker into the faith. He can't receive all the doctrine. You see? But he still believes in Yahweh Shem Shai, even though he can't receive anything. He can't receive everything. Okay? You still receive that brother, not the doubtful disputations, Basically, not looking at him like, he's not one of the elect or potentially a member of the elect or could be one of Yahushua's little ones. Verse 2, it says, for one believeth that he may eat all things, another who is weak eateth herbs. Let not him that eateth despise him that eateth not, and let not him which eateth not judge him that eateth, for the Most High hath received him. You see, so pretty much, in this particular sense, the Apostle Paul is saying herbs, all right, differentiating herbs from meat. You see, but you can also apply this outside of food, okay? Some brothers might think it's going off to go to the bar and go get a drink, you see? Some brothers might not. Well, for the brothers who think it's going off, all right, addressing the brothers who don't think it's going off, don't be showing yourself around the brothers who think it's going off to be going to the bar and drinking. It's really that simple. Not that you're trying to hide anything and be devious and deceptive, but rather you're protecting them from, them stumbling potentially at it. All right. And then Lord willing, in due time, they come around to the understanding. All right. Because me personally, myself, I used to believe it was going off to eat Thanksgiving food, eat Christmas food, so on and so forth, But, the Wadi Abba Shemashai, Lord put the spirit on me to further understand that it's really not, as long as you're not coming in that spirit. Because what really is, the date of Thanksgiving until they made it something, quote unquote, significant. You see, it's just another average day. It's not a high holy day. It's just another average day, really. These Babylonians, they esteem it as a high holy day, but it's really wicked, you see, and they eat it in the spirit of Thanksgiving, you see. But, brothers, we understand this day don't mean shit, and, that Thanksgiving idol ain't shit anyways, you see. So we're not eating it in the spirit of an idol or, some type of festivity and wickedness. We're eating it just because we hungry, we trying to eat, you see. And that's really what it is at the end of the day, But now let me go ahead and continue. Verse 4, it says, who art thou that judgest another man's servant? To his own master he standeth or falleth, yet he shall be holden up, for the Most High is able to make him stand. You see? Yeah, so you can't really get on another brother just because he can't receive something, as far as, something minuscule like that. You see, now, you might exhort the brother like, hey, it ain't going off. You might admonish him, whatever. If he can't receive it, okay, cool. You just know how to move accordingly. Okay, this thing is all about having wisdom, man. All right, how should I say it? Be wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove. Okay, in verse 5, one man esteemeth one day above another, another esteemeth every day alike. Let every man be fully persuaded in his own mind. You see, right? One man esteems one day above another, esteemeth every day alike. Yeah, one brother might think, it's just another day. Just like I said through the Spirit, and to be honest, that was really just me speaking through the Spirit. One brother might, it's Thanksgiving today, 2/3, they about to, you know what I'm saying? You know how Jake gets, and not knocking brothers who, stumble at that, okay? But at the same time, this is really an exhortation to the brothers who don't stumble at that, okay? But, either way, edification comes out on both sides, all right? It says, he that regardeth the day regardeth it unto the Lord, and he that regardeth not the day to the Lord, he doth not regard it. You see, he that eateth to the Lord, for he giveth the Most High thanks. And he that eateth not to the Lord, he eateth not and giveth the Most High thanks, right? But still, at the end of the day, what are they both doing? What's the common denominator? They're both giving the Most High thanks. In other words, they're both still potential little ones of Yahweh Bashmiel Shai. Verse 7 says, for none of us liveth to himself, and no man dieth to himself. For whether we live unto the Lord, and whether we die unto the Lord. Whether we live, therefore, or die, we are the Lord's. Yeah, we don't own ourselves. We're the Lord's property. That's why we have to make sure that we're, treating this body right. Because at the end of the day, the Lord, he's going to pull your spirit and be like, okay, what'd you do in this body? You see? So you want to make sure that you're dealing uprightly within this vessel, because our spirits are lent unto us, and this vessel is lent to us too, man. Any day the Most High could take our spirit, just like that. You don't even have to be painful, you see, because we don't own our own lives, man. And I got into a little accident a couple months back. It was a little testimony. I made a testimony on it, a couple months back. But just to make a long story short, thank the Wadi Al Bashmel Shah, I didn't really crash. Wasn't any serious damage done to my car, but I spun out, all right, on the expressway heading south. Okay, notice how I said heading south, and when I spun out and I stopped spinning out, okay, I was facing north, man. And while I was spinning out, I said, Yahweh Bashmel Shai, Izarnia, help me. Yahweh in the name of Yahweh Shai, help me. Please, please, please. And then the next thing the Lord made the car stop spinning, and then I was facing north in the south lane, and next thing the Lord just made the car reverse into the grass, man. It was truly a miracle. But the reason why I bring this up is because in a moment like that, you understand how much that your life is not yours, man, and how much that we're truly worms and that we're not in control. You see, because what can you really do in a situation like that? Grab the steering wheel. You try to grab the steering wheel, car might flip, car might jerk back, traffic still coming full speed at you. You know what I'm saying? All types of stuff. That was just the will of the Lord, man. All right. But nonetheless, the Wadi Al Bashmel Shah is still here to teach the flock today. All right. And Lord willing, I continue to teach the flock until the very end. You see? But anyways, this is the reason why I'm bringing that out through the Spirit is just to show, we don't control our lives, man. So pretty much I just bring that out because, like I said in verse 8, for whether we live unto the Lord, and whether we die unto the Lord. Whether we live, therefore, or die, we are the Lord's. All right, it says, for to this and Mashiach both died and rose and revived, that he might be Lord both of the dead and living. You see? But why doest thou judge thy brother? Or why doest thou set at not thy brother? Yeah, why you looking at a brother like, the Lord ain't dealing with him just because he can't receive the fact that you could eat a Thanksgiving dinner, or whatever the case might be. You can go to the bar every now and then with the brothers, take the edge off, so to speak. Just because the brother can't receive it, don't mean you look at him like he's a 2/3. He still believes in Yahweh Bashmel Shai. He's just weaker in the faith, and that's all it is, man. You see, hey, does not the scripture say in the book of Galatians 6:1, brethren, if a man be overtaken in a fault, ye which are spiritual, restore such a one in the spirit of meekness, considering thyself, lest thou also be tempted. You see? So that's the point of that right there. Okay? So we have to be spiritual. We have to look at things with a spiritual lens. Just because a brother can't receive something doesn't mean you just, be prideful. You don't be humble. You don't reprove him in the spirit of meekness. Because you might stumble at something, and be like, what? So you just always want to stay grounded, man. All right. Like the scripture say, therefore, if any man thinks that he stands, let him take heed that he doesn't fall. Roughly paraphrasing. Because you might think everything's good, dandy, handy and dandy one day. You rebuking Jake, and the next thing you know, boom, you doing something that's through. You see? Now, let's continue. Romans 14 and verse 11. For it is written, as I live, saith the Lord, every knee shall bow to me, and every tongue shall confess to the Most High. So then every one of us shall give account to himself, of himself to the Most High. Right. So we all have to, give account of what we've done in these bodies. All right. This is 2 Corinthians 5 and 10. For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Mashiach, that everyone may receive the things done in his body according to that he have done, whether it be good or bad. Going to show you we don't own ourselves, man. All right, it's Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 14. For the Most High shall bring every work into judgment, with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. You see? So that's the point on that right there. All right. It says, verse 13, let us not therefore, or matter of fact, there's another one that's in my spirit. I think it's in Wisdom of Solomon. But basically, it's going to how, our spirits were lent unto us, or lended unto us, rather. Bear with me, Baruch Shah. I'm just going to find that scripture, Lord willing. All right, the Wadi Abash Shah. Wisdom of Solomon 15 and 8, it says, and employing his labors lewdly, he maketh the vain god of the same clay, even he which a little before was made of earth himself. Right, referring to man. Man sets up these idols, okay, of the earth, whether it be of elements of metal, clay, whatever. You see, but we are made of the earth ourselves. You see, but it says, and within a little while after, return it to the same, meaning, once we die, our bodies decay, we go back to the earth, right? It says, and out when his life, which was lent him, shall be demanded. You see, so our lives were lent unto us, all right? Now it says, verse 13, Romans 14 and 13, let us not therefore judge one another anymore, but judge this rather, that no man put a stumbling block or an occasion to fall in his brother's way. Right. If you see that a brother might be struggling with a certain something, all right, you don't try to bring that something around that brother, man. Okay. It's like having somebody who has PTSD from war, and you playing with gunshot sound effects and bombs and stuff like that, man. You're just trying to put a stumbling block in that man's way. So it's the same thing. We have, a lot of us have PTSD, newly coming to the faith. We have PTSD of things of the world, and certain demons that were plaguing us prior to us coming into the truth. So when you're around a brother, and you indulging in certain things that may be lawful, but, being around that brother, understanding his quote unquote PTSD, if you will. All right, you don't do that around that brother, man. If a brother might have been an alcoholic back in the world, he comes to the truth, he's trying to fight that off. Yeah, guess what, man? Don't be drinking around that brother, man. Until he's grounded enough to be like, all right, y'all can drink around me. I'm not going to drink anyways. That's what it is, man. It takes time for brothers to get built up in the spirit and stuff like that, man. You see? And you have to understand that. All right, verse 14. I know and am persuaded by the Lord, Yahweh Shai, that there is nothing unclean of itself, but to him that esteemeth anything to be unclean, to him it is unclean. Right. So, if you think that chicken is going off, well, guess what? Chicken is going off to you. You see, it might be lawful according to the scriptures, but if you think chicken is going off, then guess what? It's going off, and you better not eat it because you think it's going off, man. All right. It says, but if thy brother be grieved with thy meat, now walkest thou not charitably. Destroy not him with thy meat for whom Mashiach died. Right. And meat can also be likened unto doctrine. You see, so you might have, because doctrine really stems back to way of life. So your doctrine might be, hey, you like to go out, get a drink every now and then with the brothers. Okay, perfect. Well, guess what? If a brother might stumble at that, then don't put that brother on game when you go do that. Omit that part with that brother. Okay, and if the brother think you hiding something, tell him straight up, hey, listen, only reason why I didn't do it because I didn't want to put a stumbling block in your way. Or ask permission. Ask permission. Hey, would you stumble if I drink this right now in front of you? And it's really that simple, man. We're all men at the end of the day. So, brothers have to also understand to keep their emotions in check. Okay. And you have to understand if a brother's not going off, regardless how you feel about it, you have to kind of, bite your tongue, man. All right. Because there's certain things that I wouldn't do, you see, but another brother might do it. And I might say my piece. And if the brother doesn't receive it, then guess what? That's that. You see? That's that. And we've had situations like that in the camp. I'm not going to really get into details, but, brothers did certain things where, they feel like it ain't going off. Me personally, in my own personal walk, I wouldn't indulge. You see? But, hey, it is what it is. You see? Not necessarily that the brother's going off, but at the same time, me personally, I wouldn't do it. You see what I'm saying? So that's really what it is, man. So now, that's just what it is. You see? Now, I'm going to continue. Verse 16, it says, let not then your good be evil spoken of. Okay? It says, for the kingdom of the Most High is not meat and drink, but righteousness and peace and joy in the Holy Spirit. Yeah, the kingdom ain't all about, you indulging in what you like to eat, what you like to drink, or how you like to live your life, so to speak, in your liberty and your house shine. It's about righteousness, peace, and joy in the Holy Spirit, man. Okay? And it says, for he that in these things serveth Mashiach is acceptable to the Most High and approved of men. Right? So if you have these qualities, and you acceptable and you serve Yahweh Shai, you're approved of men, then guess what, man? Hey, more than likely, you might be one of the Lord's little ones, man. All right, verse 19, it says, let us therefore follow after the things which make for peace, and the things wherewith one may edify another. Right? If it can bring forth edification, follow after that. If it can bring forth peace and unity and righteousness, follow after that. Okay? It says, for meat destroy not the work of the Most High. All things indeed are pure, but it is evil for that man who eateth with offense. It is good neither to eat flesh, nor to drink wine, nor anything whereby thy brother stumbleth, or is offended, or is made weak. Hast thou faith? Have it to thyself before the Most High. Right, so if you got faith in something, that is something is lawful, it's okay. Have it to yourself with the Most High. That's between you and the Most High, so to speak, man. That's your business. You see? Because your conscience doesn't condemn you. And what you could be doing could be lawful. You see, and if what you're doing might be a stumbling block to another brother, and what you're doing is lawful and doesn't condemn your conscience, then that's what it is. Have thy faith to thyself before the Most High. You see, you don't gotta broadcast it abroad. All right, because some brothers might not be able to receive it, and you don't want to make a brother stumble, man. It says, happy is he that condemneth not himself in the thing which he alloweth. You see, verse 23, here's the point. And he that doubteth is damned if he eat, because he eateth not of faith. For whatsoever is not of faith is sin. Right? So if you might think something's going off, all right, and you continue to indulge, then that's a sin unto you. Okay? That's why it tells you in James 4:17, therefore to him that knoweth to do good and doeth it not, to him it is sin. Yahushua also said, the servant that knew his Lord's will and did not prepare himself shall be beaten with many stripes. You see, so if you know better and you don't do better, are you just asking for more stripes, man? All right, now let's get this next one. This is 1 Corinthians 8. And I'll just start at verse 1. Now, as touching the things offered unto idols, we know that we all have knowledge. Knowledge puffeth up, but charity edifieth. And if any man think that he knoweth anything, he knoweth nothing Yeah, as he ought to know. Yeah, so we can't, just because we have knowledge, we can't sit here and try to puff of our chest like we're somebody, man, because there's still a lot that we don't know. You see, like verse 2 says, any man think that he knoweth anything, he knoweth nothing as he yet ought to know. You see, we don't know everything, man. We don't know all the minor details and stuff like that the Lord has set up. We might have, an idea, an image, all right, a broad spectrum, but we don't know everything, man. Now, I'm not saying we don't have 100% truth. We definitely do have 100% truth. We know everything we need to know in order to receive salvation. Okay, but as far as little minute details and things the Most High has revealed, yet to be revealed and stuff like that, hidden, okay, we don't know. So that's the balance to it. You see? It says, but if any man love the Most High, the same is known of him. You see? So the scripture say the Most High loves those who love him, roughly paraphrasing. All right. Hey, plain and simple. I love them that love me, Scripture also say the Most High loveth none but him that dwelleth with wisdom. You see? 1 Corinthians 8:4. As concerning therefore the eating of those things that are offered in sacrifice unto idols, we know that an idol is nothing in the world, and that there is none other but the Most High, none other God but one. Right. So we know that these idols don't exist, man. That's like, I always give this example. That's like you have a little daughter, and she has her doll, and she's trying to tell you, oh, daddy, Barbie made you a PB&J sandwich, and you're gonna be like, oh, okay, really, You're not gonna think, oh yeah, Barbie got up, made the sandwich, put the PB&J on there, got the bread, split it up. Obviously that Barbie ain't doing shit. You see, Barbie is nothing but, by technicality, an idol. So if you're not eating it as far in the name of Barbie and oh yeah, the Barbie God, then okay, then guess what, man? Go ahead, eat it. If you feel like it, if you want to. You see what I'm saying? If you don't want to, hey, you don't have to, man. But that point is, okay, as long as you're not coming in the spirit of that idol, because idols aren't nothing. They don't exist. Okay? Idols simply are just, a figment of people's imagination, so to speak, which, you also have demonic energy flowing behind it because it is wicked. So, when you have wickedness, you do have demonic energy flowing behind it. But nonetheless, okay, you're by technicality not really worshiping anything but, a figment of an individual's imagination. You see, with that demonic energy working behind it, And ultimately, there's only one power or one Most High. That's the Most High. Nothing's going down on the earth without His say so. So that's why it says there's none other God but one. It says, for though there be that are called gods, whether in heaven or in earth, as there be gods many and lords many. Yeah, because there's many different idol gods. You see? It says, but to us there is but one power, the Father, of whom are all things, and we in him, and one, Lord Yahweh Mashiach, by whom are all things, and we by him. You see? So that's all that matters. The Most High Spirit is within us all, Lord willing, we be a part of that number, along with Yahweh's Spirit being within us and the Most High. You see? So we're all made one through that. Okay? Not us serving, these different idols, man, that are not even to be mentioned. Okay? Verse 7. Howbeit, there is not in every man that knowledge. You see, yeah, not everybody can understand that. Not every brother has that knowledge or that understanding. It says, for some with conscience of the idol unto this hour eat as a thing offered unto an idol. Right. Like, for example, your daughter make you a little sandwich and she tell you Barbie made it. And, you want to go ahead and really think Barbie made it and you coming in the spirit of Barbie, all that other stuff. Okay, then guess what? That means that, all right, you're having a weak conscience. Your conscience is defiled. It says their conscience being weak is defiled. You see? So now you're going off because you're doing it in the spirit of an idol. You're not doing it, just because, oh, it's just food and that shit doesn't exist, man. All right? It's like someone telling you that their imaginary friend cooked you a meal. You'd be like, oh, really? Okay, tell them thanks. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just being facetious, but you get the point. You see? It's not real. Okay? Verse 8, it says, but meat commendeth us not to the Most High, for neither if we eat, are we the better? Neither if we eat not, are we the worse? Right. That's the point of that right there. So if you don't want to eat it, then that's okay. And if you do want to eat it, that's okay too. It's not like, any big thing where it's like, oh yeah, this is a righteous man, he ate this food. Or this dude wicked, he ain't even eat it. Nah, nah, nah. It doesn't really mean shit at the end of the day, man. All right? Like we read earlier, righteousness, peace, okay, in the spirit. All right, verse 9. But take heed, lest by any means this liberty of yours become a stumbling block to them that are weak. Okay, right. And as well, hey, bring it up back in the spirit. Sakari. If Alizé or Alizar, I'll be professional. If you feel like you ain't going off, you doing that, which, I technically disagree how it went down, but everything is the Most High's will. And the Most High is the ultimate judge. But ultimately, it wasn't a wise thing to do to, publicize it, okay? Because, you guys do have followers, all right? You have a congregation behind you. You have brothers who are younger in the faith looking up to you. And, it could have potentially been a stumbling block. And it technically was a stumbling block to a lot of people. Now, it was the will of the Lord. Why do I say that? Because it happened, you see. But nonetheless, that doesn't mean what happened was the right thing to do. Our forefathers murmured in Egypt. They murmured in the wilderness, What does that, or rather they murmured in the wilderness, But does that mean they were doing the right thing? But it was still the Lord's will for all that to happen, you see. But nonetheless, hey, like Scripture say, woe unto the world, for offenses must come. For offenses must needs come, but woe unto that man whom the offense cometh. So it's prophesied that certain men are going to stumble at the stumbling block. It's prophesied that certain men are going to be set up as stumbling blocks. It's prophesied how certain men are just not going to make it. You see? So that has to be fulfilled, you see? But woe unto those men who fulfill those prophecies, pretty much, you see? Verse 10. I'll read 9 again. It says, but take heed lest by any means this liberty of yours become a stumbling block to them that are weak. For if any man see thee which has knowledge sit at meat in the idol's temple, shall not the conscience of him which is weak be emboldened to eat those things which are offered to idols? Yeah, like for instance, your family, you tell your family you don't celebrate birthdays, and that's when you want to get a slice of that Carvel cake, they'll be like, oh, I thought you don't celebrate birthdays, da, 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 da. And then next thing you know, they might think birthdays is okay because you eating the cake, Now, a lot of times, brothers' families ain't even grounded enough to really understand or differentiate the difference, but it's just an example for edification's sake. All right, verse 11. And, that could potentially play in their mind to be like, this shit is okay. But, for me personally, when they try to come at me with that, what I personally say is, I pretty much just give them the breakdown. Like, my conscience ain't defiled. I want to eat it, and I know it ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? Pretty much, but they don't really bother me too much about it. But you know how Jake is. Jake likes to play tit for tat sometimes. So, anyways, that's just Jake. Okay. Anyways, verse 11. It says, and through thy knowledge shall the weak brother perish from whom Mashiach died. You see? So yeah. The brother weak in the faith, but just because you got knowledge that it's okay, you can't just refrain from eating in front of your brother to make him stumble and perish, man. That's just adding blood on your hands, you see. So it's better to just figure out, okay, would this brother stumble at it? If so, refrain from doing it in front of that individual. And that's just that. Okay, it says, but when ye sin so against the brethren and wound their weak conscience, ye sin against Mashiach. Yeah, the Lord said, what you did unto the least of these, my brethren, ye did so unto me. It says, wherefore if meat make my brother to offend, I will eat no flesh while the world standeth, lest I make my brother to offend. Right, so, a brother might stumble at you eating a certain bag of Doritos. Guess what? Don't eat that bag of Doritos as long as in front of that brother, as long as the earth is still standing, man. Lest you offend that man, okay? And we already know what Yahushua said through the Spirit about those who offend his little ones. It says, better you hang a millstone around your neck and drown yourself, okay? It's 1 Corinthians 10, verse 27. It says, if any of them that believe not bid you to a feast, and ye be disposed to go, whatsoever is set before you, eat, asking no questions for a conscience sake. You see? Now, does that mean if you see some pork in front of you, you just gonna be simple and eat it? Oh, no, ask no questions for conscience sake. No, that's not talking about that. It's saying if something's lawful, all right, and it might have been sacrificed. It might have been someone you knew back in the world, their birthday, they in town for the week, they really want you to come out, whatever. You just eat it without conscience sake. He says, but if any man say unto you, this is offered in sacrifice unto idols, eat not for his sake that shoot it. Right. So pretty much, in his mind, he's like going back to the example that I brought up about the brother's daughter. In her mind, she thought I was going off for eating the chips. So for her conscience sake, all right, I should have refrained from that. But looking back, hindsight's 2020. For future reference, now I know better. You see, but it's just I'm bringing it out as an analogy. It says, for the earth is the Lord and the fullness thereof. Conscience, I say, not thine own. Yeah, so not about your own conscience, but rather your neighbor's conscience. Because not everything is about how we feel or what we want, man. All right, when you come into this truth, you learn to deny yourself. Did not the John the Baptist say? He said, I must decrease, he must increase. So we have to come in that same spirit. We must decrease. Yahweh Shai must increase, man. Okay. Now it says, conscience I say, not thine own, but of the other. For why is my liberty judged of another man's conscience? Right. And the Apostle Paul, he's just asking the question, but in a certain degree, it's true. We have liberty in Yahweh Shai. So just because your conscience feels a certain way, why should my liberty be stifled rather? But we have to understand the situations at hand, understand where we're staying, the circumstances, so the Apostle Paul, he's just in a roundabout way venting, you see. But it's all for edification. It says, for if I by grace be a partaker, why am I evil spoken of for that which I give thanks? Right. So you're a partaker of the feast. Why are you being evil spoken of? And you give thanks to Yahweh Shem Shai. You understand that listen, those idols don't mean nothing. The Lord is the one who made that chicken. The Lord is the one who allowed that chicken to be cooked and dressed. You see? Or whatever other food it might have been. As of course, understanding that the food is at least lawful to eat according to the dietary law. And whenever you see stuff talking about, sacrificing to idols, is when you come in the spirit of that idol. Okay. And as well, it can also mean doctrine too. You see, it says, whether therefore ye eat or drink or whatsoever ye do all to the glory of Yahweh Ba'ashem Shai. Give none offense, neither to the Jews nor to the Gentiles, referring to the Jews, referring to the circumcision, what people knew as the circumcision, and the Gentiles referring to the uncircumcision, those who were in a Gentile state of mind, okay, with the PTSD, from the Gentile heathenistic customs. Same way how we were once in a Gentile state of mind, and then we had spiritual PTSD with certain demons that we had to battle in the world, and seeing other brothers indulge, might make us stumble, prior to the Lord grounding us, and broadening our understanding, giving us more wisdom to discern things, so on and so forth. All right. It says, nor to the church of the Most High. All right. And we make up the church, Lord willing, we be a part of that number. Verse 33. It says, even as I please all men in all things, not seeking mine own profit. Right. So sometimes you got to put yourself and put your feelings and put your desires on the back burner, because it's not about seeking our own profit. It says, but the profit of many, that they may be saved. Yeah. So you got to look at the bigger picture, man. All right. So, kind of to bring it back full circle, even with Alazar. All right. Hey, man. Hey, you feel like you weren't going off, even though I technically disagree. But if you feel like you weren't going off, then, hey, have faith to thyself, man. But, it did not have to be publicized like that. And I know, other men were recording too and stuff like that. But, I'm just speaking out in spirit, and, this was a stumbling, not even could have, this was definitely a stumbling block to a lot of our brothers, But even outside of that Sakari controversy, all right, it could be, as far as eating chicken. One brother might stumble at the fact that eating chicken is lawful. Well, guess what? Around that brother, don't eat no chicken, man. Till he grows in the faith and understands that chicken is okay to eat. You see? And that's really the whole point of the matter. Be mindful not to defile your neighbor's conscience. So with that, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Chakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of great Muslim, every well, peace and blessings to the elect of Israel. Shalom and above all.